The year is 30 BCE. Alexandria simmers in fear. Roman banners flutter at the city's edge, and whispers of betrayal echo through the palace corridors. Cleopatra VII, Queen of the Nile, Pharaoh of Egypt, walks alone through a hidden corridor beneath the temple of Isis, her face veiled not by silk, but by the weight of extinction. She had tried diplomacy. She had tried love. First Julius Caesar, then Mark Antony, both lions of Rome, now reduced to names on funeral winds. Octavian, cold-eyed and calculating, advances with legions trained not only in war but in erasure. His aim is not conquest but obliteration. Egypt is to be made a Roman province, its gods cast down, its language and knowledge consumed by Latin steel. But Cleopatra is no ordinary queen. She is the last pharaoh, guardian of rights forgotten even by her priests. And as the world closes in, she calls upon one last secret. Beneath the temple lies the crypt of Ankh-Serket, a forbidden chamber sealed since the dawn of Egypt's first unification. Its location is known only to the pharaohs and recorded in a scroll hidden beneath Cleopatra's personal library. For years she had ignored its existence, dismissing the tale as myth, the scribe's way of keeping royal blood tethered to fear. But desperation sharpens faith. Flanked by two silent attendants, she enters the crypt. A massive obsidian door stands before her, etched in glyphs that pulse faintly in the lamplight. A single inscription crowns the arch. He who drinks the stars shall outlive the sun. Cleopatra dismisses her guards. They hesitate. She doesn't speak. She simply stares. They bow and retreat into the shadows, leaving her with only a bronze dagger, a burning oil lamp, and her will. She presses her palm against the door. It is unnaturally warm. The stone groans, then yields. Darkness breathes out like a living thing. She descends. The chamber is vast, larger than any burial site she has known. Columns rise like petrified giants, spiraled and strange, non-Egyptian symbols. There are no coffins, no offerings, only silence, and a stone platform in the center of the hall. On it lies a figure. His skin is pale gold, like ancient papyrus soaked in honey. His chest rises and falls, barely. Long hair pools beneath him like black ink. A circular mark glows on his sternum, an ankh inside a crimson sun. His eyes remain closed, but the air trembles with his breath. Cleopatra steps forward. Her sandals echo with sacrilegious defiance. This is Amun-Set, not a god, not a man, something between. The oldest vampire in Egyptian record, older than Osiris, older than Ra. A creature of desert night and lost starlight, buried by the first pharaohs when he refused to serve any son but his own. She kneels beside him. I am Cleopatra Philopator, daughter of Isis, Queen of the Nile. I come not in worship, but in pact. Silence. Then a flicker. His eyes open. They are entirely black, like twin eclipses. A voice enters her mind, not spoken aloud, but carved directly into thought. You smell of empire and ruin. She does not flinch. I seek your power. Rome stands at my gate. I have no armies left, no lovers left, only my crown and my will. The vampire studies her, not with hunger, but amusement. And what will you offer the night, little pharaoh, in exchange for eternity? Cleopatra draws the scroll from her robe, parchment inked in gold, stolen from Thoth's sealed archive. The scroll of Nepharhem. It describes the ritual of second shadow, lost even to your kin. At this, Amun-Set straightens. Dust falls from his form like flaking dreams. He touches the scroll. It ignites, absorbed into his skin. His lips part, not in smile but memory. You deal in true currency. Speak your desire. I want to remain beautiful until the end. I want the power to command my blood. And if Rome takes my body, I want you to take theirs. He nods, slowly. So it shall be. He leans forward, gently, and places a single fingertip on her forehead. Her body convulses, but not in pain. Power rushes into her veins like ice fire. Her spine arches. Her skin glows. Her breath catches in her throat and dies, only to return seconds later, deeper and ageless. She rises. Her wrinkles vanish. Her eyes glow faintly. She is still Cleopatra, but now carved in myth. Amun-Set remains seated, but the air thickens around him. The curse will not be swift. Rome shall rot like fruit left to mock the sun. Madness will bloom in its emperors. Greed will devour its tongue. Betrayal will choke its heirs. Cleopatra nods, triumphant. And my soul, he tilts his head, will sleep beside mine, until the next empire dares raise its voice over the Nile. Above ground, Alexandria burns. Octavian's fleet has arrived. Cleopatra returns to her chamber. Her attendants gasp, awed by her transformation. Rumors spread within hours. The queen has become a goddess. Her enemies hesitate, but the spell is not meant to preserve the nation. Only the story. The next morning, the world believes she is dead. An ASP. A noble suicide. A broken queen. But there is no bite. No wound. Only her untouched body, sealed within a golden casket, her smile undisturbed. Some say she died proud. Others say she was stolen. But beneath the shifting sands of the Delta, in the temple that no longer exists on any map, two thrones sit side by side, one empty, one waiting. And far away in Rome, the newly crowned Augustus dreams of blood, of snakes in marble halls, of a voice, soft and eternal, whispering. The Nile remembers. Rome, 27 BC. The Senate cheers as Gaius Octavius is crowned Augustus, the first emperor of Rome. Statues are raised, coins struck, and poets declare him divine son of order, the man who brought peace after civil war. But in the private chambers of the Palatine Hill, Augustus does not sleep. He dreams of sand and ash, of serpents curled beneath thrones, of a woman with eternal eyes, unblinking, waiting. He wakes nightly in a sweat, clutching at invisible bites on his arms. Physicians blame stress. Priests speak of omens. But none dare mention Egypt, not since Alexandria fell and the queen vanished without a trace. Her tomb was never found. Her body, never confirmed. Only a sealed scroll remains, retrieved from her empty quarters, written in a hand none can decipher. The scroll is locked in the Archivum Obscura, Rome's vault for unnatural things. But something from that scroll has already taken root. In the years following Cleopatra's death, Rome enters what historians later call the Golden Age. Roads stretch to the edge of the known world. Temples rise. Art flourishes. But beneath the marble and empire-wide pride, something festers. The rot begins subtly. At first, it is madness. Augustus begins to speak to statues, not in jest or ritual, but as though they respond. He fears reflections. Mirrors are removed from his chambers. He insists on being surrounded by fire at night. He lives into old age, but his final writings are rambling invocations to Isis, written in Greek, not Latin. And when he dies, his mummified heart is found not in Rome, but beneath the temple of Apollo, wrapped in Egyptian linen. His heir, Tiberius, retreats from the world. Crowned by the Senate, he immediately departs Rome for Capri, claiming the capital is haunted by drowned eyes. There, in shadowed caverns and villas lit only by oil, he builds strange shrines, part Roman, part Egyptian, part other. Tiberius refuses to bathe in water, believing it whispers. He holds court at night. He speaks to animals. And though his rule is marked by relative peace, his final years spiral into cruelty and paranoia. Servants vanish. Historians are silenced. The island is eventually sealed off. None are allowed to enter. His body is never recovered. And then comes Caligula. The young emperor arrives like a flame, wild, radiant, unpredictable. The people adore him, at first. But within months, his actions become alien. He declares himself a living god and marries his sister. He demands a moonbeam be captured and brought to his throne room. He drinks from chalices carved from obsidian, muttering in an unknown tongue. He declares war on the sea. Sacrifices are made to shadows that move independently from their owners. He erects an Egyptian obelisk in Rome's center, one that had vanished from the library of Alexandria. None know how it was retrieved. The obelisk comes when touched. Caligula touches it often. Then one morning, he is found torn apart, not stabbed or poisoned, but drained, his skin dry as parchment, his eyes missing. No assassin is found. Only his final words remain, scrawled in blood across his ceiling. She waits beneath the river. In the decades that follow, Rome rises and falls in strange cycles. Claudius, once mocked for his stammer, claims he was visited by a golden god in a dream who rewired his tongue. He becomes brilliant overnight, He expands Rome's reach, but sleeps each night beneath a sarcophagus instead of a bed. Nero, obsessed with music and fire, believes voices whisper in the crackle of flames. He burns Rome not for power, but to silence the laughter beneath the Nile. His last act before suicide, ordering all Egyptian manuscripts in the capital burned. His final scream, "She sings to me from sand." The whispers reach the scholars. A secret society begins to form. Custodes Umbri, the keepers of shadow, founded by a senator named Aulus Vitruvius, whose daughter vanished during a ritual near the Pantheon. The custodes gather lost scrolls, fragments, and reports of unnatural behavior in emperors. Vitruvius believes the decline is no accident. He suspects a curse, an orchestrated rot, too precise and poetic to be random. He collects reports. An eclipse during Domitian's reign that lasted hours longer than predicted, only over Rome. Statues weeping black fluid during Vespasian's coronation. Entire legions in Judea collapsing in seizures after marching past an obelisk carved with ankh sigils. The custodes cross-reference these events with the lone scroll recovered from Cleopatra's chambers. They begin to decipher it. It is not a letter, nor a prophecy. It is a binding, a ritual written in blood and starlight, designed by someone called Amun-Set. The scroll links soul to sand, memory to empire. Its intent is clear. As long as the Nile remembers, Rome shall forget itself. By the 2nd century, Rome is outwardly still strong, but internally fractured. Emperors rule for months, sometimes days. Poisonings become common. Assassinations are choreographed like theater. The Senate becomes a parody of its old self. And in the shadows of every palace, obelisks now stand. Each one a silent monument. Each one, humming faintly. No one remembers who placed them there. Not even the emperors. In a final act of desperation, the custodes Umbri assign one of their most capable members, Lucius Varro, to investigate Egypt itself. His mission: find the origin of a scroll, and if possible, break the curse. Lucius is no politician. He is a veteran of the northern campaigns, a disbeliever in ghosts and gods. But he has seen things. Men fall to dreams, commanders walk into rivers and never surface. He carries with him a satchel of purified relics, fragments of Roman steel blessed by Mithraic priests, salt from Britain's haunted coast, and the preserved eye of a soothsayer who once claimed to have seen Amun-Set. With him travels Kaya, a Nubian oracle descended from temple guardians once loyal to the old vampire cults. Together, they descend into the crumbling underworld of Alexandria, where beneath catacombs flooded with Nile silt, something still stirs. Something ancient. Something watching. Back in Rome, the skies darken prematurely. The Tiber turns red, and somewhere, deep beneath forgotten stone, the voice of Cleopatra whispers once more. Rome believed it conquered time, but Egypt owns memory. Rome, 178 CE. The empire totters on its golden throne. What was once proclaimed eternal now gasps beneath the weight of madness and rot. Emperors come and go like fever dreams. Generals declare themselves gods. The Tiber runs black one morning, and no one dares ask why. In the underground sanctum of the Custodes Umbri, Lucius Varro reads the final entry of Aulus Vitruvius, founder of the secret order. The Nile hides more than water. The source of the curse lies not in the scroll, but in what guards it. Send no more scholars. Send a sword. Lucius is that sword. A grizzled veteran of the northern campaigns, Lucius is no mystic. He does not fear the gods, because he has seen what men can do when they become gods. He watched the Emperor Commodus try to declare himself Hercules reborn while Rome slum-starved. He's seen battlefields where men moved like puppets, driven by dreams that were not their own. But even for a soldier hardened by war and madness, Egypt is something else. A land older than Rome, older than time. A land where the gods never left, they just changed names and waited. Lucius is not alone. The custodes pair him with Kaya, a Nubian seer whose lineage traces back to the guardians of Thoth, an order that once served at the library of Alexandria. She is young, cloaked in silence, with eyes like polished obsidian. Her dreams are not her own. She sees visions pass through blood, memory encoded in flesh. She speaks to birds. She walks with serpents. She claims the curse was never meant to destroy Rome, but to preserve Egypt, not as a nation, but as a story too powerful to be forgotten. Lucius distrusts her, but he trusts his mission less. They arrive in Alexandria under Roman banners, posing as emissaries cataloging forgotten ruins. The city is no longer the jewel it once was. The great library is ash, its pillars cracked. Wildcats roam the temple ruins, but beneath the city lies a map that does not exist on any Roman scroll. Kaya draws it in the sand, hand guided by whispers in the wind. "Follow the bones of the ibis," she murmurs. They remember what men forget. They follow her path through sewer grates and buried cisterns, where the scent of salt and rot clings to the walls. Each step down is a step back, through layers of civilization, dusted with crushed papyrus and forgotten gods. They descend into the underscriptum, a fabled layer beneath Alexandria where forbidden texts and relics were hidden when Rome first arrived. There, in the catacombs, they find it, a chamber sealed in glass-black stone, carved with sigils that seem to resist the torchlight. In its center, a pedestal holding a fragment of Cleopatra's mirror, cracked, still faintly reflective. Kaya touches it. The chamber breathes. Visions assault them. Lucius sees fire rolling across Rome. Not flames, but ink covering statues, eating names off monuments. He sees emperors howling in iron masks. He sees Cleopatra, not as a queen, but as a priestess, her face neither aged nor young, her eyes filled with galaxies. She holds out a papyrus scroll to him, but it bleeds in her hands. Kaya collapses, whispering in a tongue that Lucius does not know, but feels. The curse is not punishment. It is memory weaponized. They return to the surface changed. Lucius no longer questions the supernatural, only its rules. Kaya guides them south, to where the Nile bends unnaturally near a forgotten tributary. Beneath the third cataract, she says, is where he sleeps. Amun-Set, the vampire king, the original architect of the blood pact, bound by Cleopatra's will, preserved not in death but in story. The journey upriver is treacherous. Bandits stalk the shores. Roman patrols, paranoid and unstable, kill first and ask after. Yet stranger things impede them. A stretch of river where the moon hangs unmoving in the sky. A child who speaks in Cleopatra's voice. A village abandoned, every mirror shattered, every wall carved with a phrase. She is not gone. At one point, Kaya begins humming in her sleep, an ancient tune that causes the boat's rudder to move on its own. Lucius tries not to show fear. He sharpens his gladius. He polishes his bronze lion amulet. He dreams of fire. At the third cataract, they find Philae, once a holy island, now a half-sunken ruin swallowed by the Nile. It's not marked on any Roman maps. Locals refuse to approach. The water around it glows faintly at night. Kaya steps off the boat without hesitation. Lucius follows, hand on his blade, every nerve screaming. They enter the temple of Isis, its pillars tilted, its altar cracked, but its core chamber sealed and untouched. Kaya places her hand on the door. She sings. The melody is wrong, too deep for a human throat. It vibrates the stone. The door opens. Inside, silence. The inner sanctum is pristine. Golden walls. Obsidian floor. A sarcophagus floats above a pool of still water. Hieroglyphs spiral upward, rearranging as they move, telling a story that refuses to be fixed. Lucius sees Cleopatra's face again and again, changing slightly each time. Then he sees the second throne. Beside it, a corpse, beautiful, untouched, glowing faintly beneath ancient glass. Kaya weeps. She made herself legend, but she bound herself to a curse that can only be broken by memory's sword. Lucius steps forward, and the corpse opens its eyes. It is not Cleopatra. It is something older, something wrong. The eyes are not eyes. They are mirrors. Lucius stares and sees Rome, burning, dying, forgotten. A voice, soft and endless, speaks in his skull. We are the fire between dynasties. We are what empires forget, and what forgets empires. The chamber collapses inward, not in rubble, but in time. Lucius is pulled back. Through sand, blood screams. When he awakes, he is outside the temple. The boat is gone. Kaya is gone. Only a single word is carved into the riverbank. Choose. Back in Rome, omens intensify. The sun fails to rise for 3 days. Statues whisper rumors no sculptor placed in them. The obelisks begin to hum louder. A decision must be made. And Lucius Varro, last of the custodes Umbri, must return to the heart of the empire to deliver the truth. The curse is alive, and it is waiting to be fed. Upper Egypt, near the forgotten fork of the Nile. Lucius Varro stands alone on the riverbank, drenched and shivering. The temple of Isis behind him is gone. Not collapsed. Erased. There is no ruin, no doorway, no sarcophagus. Only reeds and wind. And yet, he remembers it all. The voice, the floating tomb, the mirrored eyes, and the final word left carved into the earth by Kaya. Choose. Lucius grips his gladius until his knuckles turn white. Rome is unraveling, and now the veil over this ancient curse is thinning. And Cleopatra is not dead. Not truly. He begins the journey north, traveling with merchants, sleeping in empty shrines. Along the way, he sees signs, symbols etched into rock, dreams shared by strangers, whispers in the wind that call him by name. Lucius, they say. He walks with memory. After weeks, he reaches Thebes, and there, beneath the city's crumbling necropolis, Kaya finds him. She looks older, though only days have passed. I returned, he says quietly. But the temple. Kaya places a hand on his arm. The temple was never built for Rome to find. It exists in memory, in myth. She pulls a cloth from her satchel and unwraps a bronze ankh, engraved with a serpent circling the sun. It's time you see the tomb that memory guards. Beneath Thebes lies a canyon few dare enter. Wadi el Ghul, the valley of the hungry dead. Legends speak of spirits that consume time, of tombs that move locations when gazed upon directly. Lucius and Kaya pass through its shattered gates, each carrying a lamp made of petrified lotus petals soaked in holy oil. They walk for days. Then, the wind stills. A cliff face opens like a yawning mouth, revealing stairs cut into black glass. Lucius descends without hesitation. The tomb is not stone. It is architecture made from story. Walls ripple with engraved memories. Every touch sends echoes through his skull. He sees Julius Caesar's assassination, Cleopatra watching from a distant mirror, the founding of Rome, twins suckling at a she-wolf who glows under the same moon that once lit Karnak, the fall of Troy, guided not by gods, but by whispers carried from a desert kingdom long forgotten. Lucius staggers. This place, he gasps, isn't built for bodies. Kaya nods. It's built for empires. In the center lies a chamber shaped like a spiral star. A platform hovers in the air, spinning slowly. Upon it stands a golden throne, and upon that throne, Cleopatra, but not as Lucius remembers from statues or coins. Her body radiates ancient vitality. Her skin is opalescent bronze, her hair woven with strands of living gold. She wears the twin crowns of Upper and Lower Egypt, merged into a diadem that pulses with strange light. And beside her, seated but unmoving, is Amun-Set. His skin is the color of sand baked in moonlight. His chest no longer rises. His eyes are closed. But Lucius feels his presence, like gravity, like the pull of a dying star. Cleopatra opens her eyes. They glow with a light that is not sunlight, not moonlight, but history light, a reflection of every moment since the world began. "You've come far, Roman," she says, voice smooth as still water. Lucius lowers his sword. "I came to end the curse." She smiles. "The curse was your empire's arrogance. I merely made it poetic." He approaches the dais slowly. "Why? You could have destroyed Rome with war. With armies." "I did," she replies, "but not with spears. With time. I made your greatness unsustainable." She gestures to the spinning chamber walls. Visions flash. Caligula, whispering to statues. Nero, setting fire to scrolls. Commodus, bleeding from the eyes after staring too long into an obelisk. The Caesars wanted to erase me, so I ensured they would forget themselves first. Lucius stands firm. "You turned your blood into a virus." "Not a virus. A memory chain. Amun-Set gave me eternity. I gave him relevance." At that, Amun-Set's eyes open. Black. Bottomless. And then he speaks. His voice is a harmony of centuries, low, ancient, beautiful. "Rome thought conquest was ownership, but Egypt knows, what you conquer, you inherit. And with it the ghosts." Lucius feels his heart slow. His body trembles. His thoughts echo. He bites his tongue, drawing blood, to anchor himself. "No more riddles," he says. "I came to stop this." Cleopatra rises. "Then choose." She offers her hand. "Join me. Help preserve the truth. The world forgets too easily. Stand with Egypt, and we will write eternity." Lucius sees it. The offer. Power. Immortality. Escape from the chaos of a dying Rome. He looks at Kaya. She nods, but not in approval. In trust. Whatever choice he makes, she will honor it. Lucius raises his sword, and he plunges it into the mirrored floor. The chamber howls. The illusions collapse. Cleopatra screams, not in pain but fury. Time itself convulses. The tomb flickers, and the voice of Amun-Set rises, not angry, amused. "So, you break the mirror, but the memory remains." Lucius collapses. Kaya drags him from the tomb as it crumbles into blinding light. Above them, the desert sky splits for a moment, and a flood of Roman names pours upward, like stars pulled into a drain. When he wakes, they are miles away. The tomb is gone. In his hand is the bronze ankh, but it is broken. They return to Alexandria, to Rome, to the world above, and Lucius carries with him a terrible truth. The curse was never about vengeance. It was about authorship. Cleopatra didn't want revenge. She wanted to write the final chapter of Rome. And now, that chapter is almost done. Back in Rome, the sky turns red. The obelisks begin to whisper. And one by one, the names of the emperors begin to fade from the records. Not struck out, not erased, forgotten. The curse continues, but its wielder has vanished. Rome, 193 CE. Smoke coils above the eternal city, not from fire, but from something stranger forgetting. Stone statues stand with blank plinths. Coins are minted bearing emperors. No one remembers. The Senate debates a law in honor of a man none can name. In the back corridors of a crumbling archivum obscura, a dying scribe scratches a final note into his scroll. "I have counted 30 emperors in 50 years. Each dies quicker than the last, and each leaves less behind. It is not death that consumes Rome. It is amnesia." Lucius Varro walks alone down the forum, now reduced to marble ruins and frightened whispers. Merchants barter for foreign gods. Children play beneath Egyptian obelisks they've always believed were Roman. No one remembers Caligula. No one remembers Claudius. And soon, no one will remember Augustus. The curse works slowly, surgically, elegantly, hollowing out Rome's identity, not through war, but through narrative rot. Lucius sees it in the people's eyes. They remember bread. They remember games. But ask them who built the aqueducts, who fought the Gauls, who first declared himself emperor, and they falter, as if the memories have been unpinned from reality. He returns to the underground sanctum of the custodes, Umbri, now near empty. Only a few scholars remain. The rest have vanished or been executed for heresy against an empire whose own history is no longer trusted. He sets the broken bronze ankh on the table before them. Kaya stands at his side, silent. One elder leans forward and whispers, "What did you see in Egypt?" Lucius answers without hesitation, "Truth." They stare. He continues, "Cleopatra still lives. Amun-Set still dreams. And Rome is not dying from outside. It is unmaking itself, word by word." He raises his voice. "The curse cannot be undone by killing its source. It is a story, and stories cannot be murdered. Only rewritten." The custodes gather what they have, fragments of scrolls, broken seals, half-burnt tomes. They begin documenting what Rome is losing. Every time an emperor's name fades from a statue, they carve it in secret. Every time a temple collapses, they sketch its outline. They create an archive not of power, but of memory. They call it the Shadow Codex. Lucius leads the charge to spread it through what remains of the empire. Not to fight Cleopatra, not to destroy the past, but to preserve it, before it becomes fiction. Meanwhile, across the Nile, in a vault no longer bound by time or map, Cleopatra watches. She sits on her throne of obsidian and gold. Her eyes close in satisfaction. Her curse has rippled as intended. The Roman Empire will not fall by blade or rebellion. It will forget itself into dust. Amun-Set stirs beside her. He speaks without moving. The memory of Rome thins. Their gods fracture. Their bloodlines spiral into confusion. Cleopatra nods. I gave them what they feared most, not defeat, but irrelevance. And yet, something shifts. In the dark, Cleopatra turns her gaze westward, toward a fire kindling in Lucius Varro's shadow. A choice was made, one she had not foreseen. 3 years later, Lucius stands in Britannia, in a cold stone fort surrounded by scrolls. He trains scribes to speak, names the empire has tried to forget. He teaches orphans how to read Egyptian glyphs. He ensures the truth lives on, not in monuments, but in minds. Rome's central identity has collapsed into a hollow shell, but the provinces begin to remember differently. And stories, real ones, start to spread, of a queen who outlived empires, of a vampire sealed beneath the sand, of a soldier who chose to wield history instead of fear. Rome's corpse continues to stumble forward. More emperors, more betrayals. The Senate becomes theater. The games become bloodier. The gods grow silent. One day, a Roman general declares himself Caesar, only to forget his own name the next morning. His army deserts him in confusion. A peasant girl sees this and writes it down. That girl becomes a scribe of the Shadow Codex. The curse still holds, but so does resistance. Kaya returns to Thebes, where she seeds memory into oral traditions. In temples hidden beneath sand, she sings songs of pharaohs and Caesars, and how one became the shadow of the other. And in secret, Lucius and Kaya reunite every year on the day Rome once celebrated its founding. They light a lamp, not to mourn Rome, but to witness what comes next. Far beneath the Nile, Cleopatra begins to stir. A crack appears in the mirror beside her throne. A single name has resisted forgetting. Lucius. A whisper rises from Amun-Set, fainter now. He has learned the danger of memory. He may pass it on. Cleopatra rises and looks into the broken mirror. Then I must act again, she says. But this time, I will not be the myth. 3 centuries pass. Rome splits, then falls, and no one knows exactly when it ended, because it did not collapse. It was forgotten. But beneath that forgetting, a flame endures. The Shadow Codex spreads to Gaul, to Carthage, to Byzantium. Not as a book, but as a whisper, a symbol, a song. Cleopatra's story becomes a riddle in every empire that follows. And Lucius Varro, he disappears from the records. But a tomb bearing his name is found in the 12th century, deep beneath a ruined chapel in England. The inscription, I remembered her when no one else did, and so I remained. And in the final lines of the Codex, written in a hand long since turned to dust, the last pharaoh cursed the world not to end, but to remember her, even if it forgot itself.